We're now going to answer this question before us, and we're going to talk about the alternative ways of solving this. So we know that kind of the basic way of solving this is just rewriting it as a log. So that means if I have negative x is equal to log with a base of 7, like that. That is one way of writing it, and of course I would just divide both by that negative to get it in that form right there. That right there is my answer. But we want to talk about different ways of solving this, and specifically taking the log of both sides. So let's now talk about taking the log of both sides. Now, as we said, it does not matter what the base of that log is. So we're going to write or here because we're doing it another way. Take the log. Now, what do you want the base of that log to be? Sometimes the best one to do is one of the numbers that we see in the question itself. So what if I was to take the log of base 6? And you're going to see why this is going to be so useful. So if I take log of the base 6, because I have a 6 here, let's see what happens. Take log of base 6 of both sides. Okay, let's give this a go. So this is what we're doing. So that means I'm going to end up with log of base 6 on 7 raised to the negative x is equal to log of base 6 of 6. And then here I would take that negative x to the front, and I'm going to get log 6 of 7. Now here, if I've got log base 6 of 6, well, 6 raised to what power is 6? This is just going to be 1. And you can see why this is so useful now. Then I'm going to divide both sides by this. So negative x is going to be equal to 1 on, now that's a funny looking one, 1 on this log 6 of 7. And of course, the last thing I would do is just divide across by that negative as well. So let me do it down here. So that means x would be negative 1 on log 6 of 7. And there it is. Now, this is a different way of saying our change of base rule. So if we come up here, if we come here for a moment, this is the same as that. So this is equal to negative log 7 of 6. And that is a different way of saying this. And this is specified for us in our change of base rule that we've seen in our previous lesson. So make sure you go back and you watch that previous lesson where we spoke about in detail the change of base rule. And as you can see here, if I have x here, I can put now the x there. And if I have an a here, I can put that a there if I go 1 over that thing. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And it's because we're being strategic in what we're taking the log of both sides of. By taking the log of 6 of both sides, we can write it in this form here. Let's talk about one more way that we could take the log of both sides. What if instead of taking the log of 6, we took the log of 7? Let's see what happens in this scenario here. So I'm going to take the log of 7 of both sides. All right, let me highlight that in blue. All right, let's see what happens when we do this. Okay, so I'm going to get log of base 7 of 7 raised to the negative x is equal to log of 7 of 6. Now, the negative x comes to the front. Log of 7 of 7 is equal to log of 7 of 6. Now, what's log of base 7 of 7? That's just going to be 1. Then I've got log of 7 on 6. Therefore, if I get rid of that negative, I bring it to the other side, I'm going to get negative log of 7 of 6. Do you see how that is the same? This right here is the same as what we got up here. It's the same thing. So it's really just the same of doing it the very first way we did it, where we just took it straight, like wrote it straight as log. Negative log of 7 of 6, negative log of 7 of 6. Now, if you put it into your calculator, so if we come to our calculator here for a moment, and we go menu 3.1 for solve, and then go, all right, what have we got here? We've got 7 raised to the negative x is equal to 6, comma x, and hit enter. It gives it to us in this form right here, which we spoke about in the previous part. So this right here is what we get out. And you just need to know that this is just another way of saying it. We spoke about that in detail. It's just, whoops, if I can move this. It is just that way of saying it. So nothing to get too worried about, but it's just really important that you get used to all the different notation that surrounds this type of question. And hopefully this hasn't been too confusing, but enlightening on all the different ways that this occurs. All right, we'll pause here and I'll see you in the next part.